Hi, Arcfieldweather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday morning, June 9th. Yesterday's video really focused on the heavy rain threat for the Mid-Atlantic region and the strong to severe thunderstorm threat as well. And indeed, there was a lot of heavy rainfall in many locations in the overnight hours, especially in that zone from, let's say, northeastern Maryland, places like Columbia, Maryland, Laurel, Ellicott City, where there's some flooding again early this morning, all the way up along the immediate I-95 corridor right into Philadelphia. Some areas at 2, 3, 4 inches of rain. That whole batch of rainfall has pushed off the eastern seaboard. New York City's in the clear right now, and it looks like basically a partly sunny to mostly sunny day in New York City. Philadelphia, D.C. with an increasing wind out of the west as some drier air moves in. Breaking the action for the Mid-Atlantic region continues right through the day on Friday, a nice way to end the work week. Then showers and cooler on Saturday. Yesterday's big story was that heavy rain threat for the Mid-Atlantic region. Today's big story is really the heat wave that will intensify in the region from California to Texas. It's been hot in that zone of the U.S. over the last several days. It will intensify and expand eastward all the way to the East Coast in the southeastern U.S., the Mid-Atlantic states by early to middle part of next week. So again, the heat wave coming up over the next 7 to 10 days or so expands and intensifies, goes all the way to the east from California to Georgia, let's say, by the early part of next week, and even into the parts of the Mid-Atlantic region will start to warm up later next week. This is a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook by NOAA from the NOAA weather website. It covers the period of June 14th to June 18th right here, so basically next week. And again, there's been hot weather right in this zone over the last few days. It will tend to intensify and build eastward later this weekend all the way into the early part of next week, so that by the time we get to the middle of next week, it'll be above normal really all the way across the southern U.S. from California to Georgia, and kind of expands up into the Mid-Atlantic region later next week as well. Now, in the immediate future, the next 5 days or so, both the northeastern part of the country and the northwestern part of the country will actually continue to experience some comfortable temperatures. Well, one way to explain this heat wave that's coming up over the next 7 to 10 days or so is to look at the 500 millibar height anomaly field. And these are the averages for a 5-day period. We're looking at the current 5-day period right now, days 1 to 5 from the ensemble run of the 0Z GFS. And here we go. We have strong ridging, kind of centered over the western part of Texas, but really height anomalies on the plus side extend from California to Texas. Dallas today probably only in the 90s. I say only in the 90s for afternoon highs, but Dallas will probably reach 100 degrees for afternoon highs tomorrow on Friday, and then that could extend for several days beyond that, going well into next week as the ridging aloft not only continues but tends to intensify. Now let's go out to days 6 to 10. Again, this is the current 5-day period. And again, before I go to the 6 to 10, notice the northeastern U.S. below normal heights, the northwestern U.S. below normal heights, and in those areas comfortable temperatures will continue over the next 5 days or so. Now we go out to days 6 to 10. Notice what happens here. The ridging really shifts to the east and has a focus on the center part of the nation. This will allow for the above normal temperatures to expand from California to Texas all the way into the southeastern part of the nation early next week. So again, kind of an intensification and an overall shifting of the upper level ridging from that California to Texas zone to the middle of the nation, and that will extend the heat wave all the way into the southeastern states. Certainly places like Huntsville, Alabama should reach well up into the 90s by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday of next week. And again, it'll be a little bit of a while here before the northeastern U.S. and the northwestern U.S. experience these hot conditions, really confined to the southern half of the nation for the next several days. But again, it'll extend all the way to the east coast, at least the southeastern U.S. coastline, by early next week. Well, how do those height anomalies correlate to temperatures? We're looking at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies again from the ensemble run of the 0Z GFS, and again averaged out over 5-day periods. This is the current 5-day period we are in, going all the way out to June 14th. Hotter than normal. California, all the way to Texas. And again, Dallas is likely to reach 100 degrees tomorrow and stay at 100 plus for the next several days beyond that. Moderately hot conditions over the southeastern states during this current 5-day stretch. And again, continuation of comfortable temperatures. In fact, it's very cool, much cooler than normal in the Mid-Atlantic region early this week. And let's say Saturday, temperatures may struggle in some areas to rise above the 70-degree mark. And in Philadelphia, for example, the normal high right now is about 81, 82 degrees. So we'll be closer to 70 degrees in the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday. So still, continuation over the next 5 days of comfortable temperatures in northeastern U.S., northwestern U.S. But now watch what happens as we get into next week with this above normal temperature pattern. It extends all the way into the center of the nation and all the way into the southeastern states. It starts to edge into the Mid-Atlantic region. Certainly the Ohio Valley, the Mississippi Valley get much, much warmer than normal as this heat wave really intensifies late this weekend and early next week. It'll extend from California all the way to Georgia and then push to the north, well up north part of the Mississippi Valley and the Ohio Valley, and start edging into the Mid-Atlantic region. Well, since we have this heat wave coming that again goes from California to Texas all the way into the southeastern states by early next week, I thought I'd make a comparison with the summer of 1980. Actually, the early 80s had a couple of very, very hot summers. 1980 was one of them. 1983 was another particularly hot summer across much of the nation. And the summer of 1980 was quite persistently hot, with strong upper-level ridging focused over the center part of the nation for weeks and weeks on end. I wanted to show a couple of historical maps here. This is the 500 millibar height anomalies for the entire summer, June, July, and August in 1980, just as a way of comparison. And here we have, notice, cooler than normal conditions over the northwest, cooler than normal conditions or lower heights than normal here. We'll look at the temperatures in a moment over the northeastern U.S. And look at this. This is for the entire summer season of June, July, and August. Again, we're looking back at 1980 only because this kind of reminds me a little bit of 1980, but it's this particular upcoming heat wave will have a long way to go to match what we experienced back in 1980. So again, very, very persistent ridging aloft at the 500 millibar level. These are the height anomalies in that entire summer from June, July to August. Well, how did that height pattern correlate with temperatures? These are the surface temperature anomalies right here. Now we're looking at this map for that same time period, June, July, and August of 1980. Excessively hot weather here from Texas all the way up into the Central Plains, and it extended really from the southwest U.S. all the way into the Mississippi Valley. And interestingly, cooler than normal conditions throughout that summertime season in the Pacific Northwest, and normal in the northeastern part of the nation, and maybe cooler than normal in the southeastern part of the nation. So some similarities to this upcoming weather pattern to the summer of 1980. But in terms of the heat, it'll take a lot to come anywhere close to what was experienced back in 1980, and really back in 1983 as well, another example from many, many decades ago. But again, excessively hot for that entire summer, June, July, and August. Well, one final set of numbers I'd like to show to the weather buffs out there that like to look at historical weather. This again is 1980. What we're looking at here are the high temperatures of Dallas, Texas, right in the heart of that heat wave, June of 1980. Just some amazing numbers here that really extend all the way from June 23rd right here. Look at this. This is high temperatures, all records, or all in 1980, extending all the way out to July 3rd here. Look at some of these high temperatures. Again, this is Dallas, Texas. We think Dallas will go into the 90s today and 100 degrees tomorrow. Probably stay at right around 100, maybe 100 to 105 from tomorrow all the way into the middle of next week. Look at this stretch of weather in Dallas in 1980, from June 23rd to July 3rd, 104, 106, 109, all the way up to 113, 113, 112, all the way down to July 3rd. Again, that heat wave of the summer of 1980 lasted all the way through the summer months of August, in some cases in the southern part of the nation, all the way into September. So yes, very hot weather coming up over the next 5 to 10 days or so across much of the southern half of the nation, but it's not unprecedented, and it'll take a lot to match the summer of 1980. Just thought I'd throw out that historical point of view. That's it for now. For ArcfieldWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Thurs.